Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Prabhupada. Lord Premanande.
Hari Bol.
How are you tonight? Everybody else okay?
Yep.
Any requests or anything in particular to talk about tonight? Sometimes people come and say, I've been thinking about this or that or whatever. I've got something in mind, but we don't have to go with that. You can use yours if you want.
Real got an idea of this.
I got pulled over today driving to work as a police officer. And I was just thinking about other actual kshatriyas today in the material world, this Kali Yuga, other Brahmanas. If you could talk a little bit about the Varnashram.
There's always, there's always that four classes: the Brahmanas, the Kshatriyas, and the Vaishyas, and the Shudras. That's always there. It's really watered down right now as far as practically all or most of the population is Sudra. Actually, it's less than. It's less than Sudra. Some people, when I say that, sometimes people say, what are you talking about? This is the United States of America. We're so advanced. We invented this and we invented that, and we dropped the bomb on these guys, and we can send our army to just about any country. And if they mess with us, we'll send our Air Force and drop enough bombs to turn their country into a parking lot. We'll send our infantry to paint lines, So that's who we are. So, but we find that according to what we read about and study about in the Vedic philosophy, the folks of this age are basically less than Shudra, because the Shudras at least had self-respect. They had we have people that we would consider Brahmins in this age, and they're supposed to be leading. They're supposed to be the ones who are the thinkers. They should realize God and give God to us. And yet we see that they're tied up in so many political things. That the teachers of this age seem to be very much politically oriented. In the universities, that's what they're teaching. Everything has a political spin, depending on which university you go to or which professor you have kind of a spin. You see. So the devotee, one who's serious about spiritual life, he wants to really find out about God. And so really the Brahmins, or those, let's say even someone teaching academics in a college, if he was more than Shudra, at least he would put a spin on it towards God consciousness. Well, we don't do those kind of things, but there's some things we don't talk about. We don't talk about God, you see. I was going to be speaking at a yoga place here, locally in Tucson, and asked Mother Laura to see if I could speak at this place. And they said, well, really, it's a little bit too religious for us. So this is a yoga salon. So we've seen yoga, for want of a better word, bastardized. Yoga. We don't want anything spiritual here. We don't want anybody to come here to, some guy like that, he's just going to talk about, he's going to be throwing the G word around. It's going to be God this and God that. We just want to stretch and feel good. So we've taken yoga, and the purpose of yoga is, what does yoga mean?
Yoke.
Huh?
3 yoke.
It means to unite. To what? What'd you say? Reconnect. Reconnect with God. What does religion mean?
To bind together, to hold together.
Yeah. It's, what is that? It's relegate. That's the, that's the original word. Relegate means, so religion means the same thing as yoga, to reunite, you see. Although you can say to religious teachers today, that religion means reunite, no. They're just thinking about the English translation. And they're not thinking, well, this came from other languages hundreds, thousands of years ago. It originally came from Sanskrit. But, just the Latin word, relegate. That's religion. That means to reunite. Reunite with what? You see? They're just saying, well, it can't be that because there's no reconnecting. We're just connecting for the first time. You see? So it's upside down. Anyway, even the people who were teaching yoga, of all things, you would think that a yoga teacher would say, yeah, let's talk philosophy. We're wanting philosophy. Now, if I would go and teach people how to chant Om, they would probably say, oh, this guy's going to chant Om, Kirtan, yeah, we'd like to have Kirtan. We want you to have Kirtan for everybody. Everything. There's one group, I won't mention their name, but they've spent a lot of time posing as a yoga. They're kind of like an international group, an international yoga group. And they came through Knoxville, Tennessee, and the devotees there told me that this group was coming to this a yoga salon owned by a friend of ours. And I said, well, you should go. Go and see what they have to say. And so they were talking, they called and said, can we go? They said, yeah, we'd like to have you here, because you guys could do Kirtan. Kirtan's kind of a big thing right now. It's a hot item. Everybody likes into Kirtan. Nobody really knows what it is, but it's cool now. It's hip to do Kirtan. So, but they want to do Kirtan to just anybody and everything, So anyway, this group was talking about chanting once they got around to speaking their philosophy. Someone asked about chanting, and they said, yes, chanting is good. And one of the devotees said, yes, chanting Hare Krishna. And he says, yes, chant Hare Krishna. That's wonderful. Or you can chant anything. Just chant. You can chant Harley Davidson, and you get the same benefit. Just chant and engage your body and your senses. So wait a minute. What did we do? We left the spiritual process and came right back to the body. I am my body. So in other words, these people are posing as Brahmins. And they can't get off the bodily concept. What to speak of the Shudras of this day? At least the Sudras in the olden times were not meat eaters. Some people think, well, there were Sudras there. No, the Sudras were just people who assisted the other classes. I'm not a teacher. I don't study philosophy. I'm not into that. I can't memorize and think. And my mind doesn't work in such a way that I can take philosophy and advance the thoughts. I'm not strong enough or inclined to be a military man or a president or a senator or, a policeman. I don't know how to do business. All that makes me dizzy. But I can help everybody else. We need people that can do things, you see. So the divisions of society are perfect. We see them everywhere we go. You know, people have different inclinations. Not everybody can be an accountant, and not everybody can be a teacher. Not everybody can be a policeman. Not everybody's going to be able to do business, you see. So we see there's natural divisions. But today, we actually have less than Sudra, Chandras, considered, I mean, in some parts of the planet, we actually have dog eaters, but Chandra means one who eat a dog. Who eat a dog. So, in some parts of the world, there are people who consider dog a delicacy. Can you imagine? But to speak of cows. So we've got, in this age, it's very difficult for us sometimes to realize the void and the vacuum that we're living in. You see, it's very unfortunate because the average person is wandering the planet with practically no hope. And sometimes people say, what do you talk about? This is America. You can get a good education and a good job. You can make more money here than you make anywhere else. So you're rich. You have 3 or 4 cars, each one of them might cost $100,000 in a very expensive house. And you don't even know how to cleanse yourself properly. It's a shame. They don't have any hope as far as what is my next life, what is my destiny, what have I done? I've educated myself, I've got a great job, I've pursued it, I've beaten down all the competition for the position, I have it, I'm in control, my bank account is growing like crazy, my cars are all paid for, my yacht is paid for, and I have no idea what my destiny is at the time of death. I've never really thought much about it. All I know is that today, so much I'm having, tomorrow, so much more I will have. She is my enemy. If I can conquer her, I can. Him I've already conquered. He is trusting me. So I can conquer. She is my enemy. That country over there has resources that we need. We can take that and see, that's the thinking of the modern day man. I have to get that parking spot before somebody else gets it. It's a competitive world. People have no hope. You see, people waste their time. They're wasting their lives. One time, Srila Prabhupada flew into Los Angeles, and Tamal Krishna Maharaj went to pick him up. He was in the car that went to pick him up at the airport. And there were other devotees that went, but they picked up Srila Prabhupada, put him in the car, and on the way back to the temple, instead of taking him down, there's this one street, I can't remember the name of it, that's kind of a straight shot, but Goswami thought, we're going to go back to the LA temple by going through real pretty neighborhoods. I want Prabhupada to see this pretty, like Beverly Hills, something like that. Might have been Beverly Hills, I can't remember exactly. So he wants Prabhupada to see these beautiful houses. So they're going through these gorgeous neighborhoods. And, boy, there's a lot of stories about that, I can tell you. But this one, they passed the country club. The Bel Air Country Club, where the stars play. And it's very beautiful. And TKG thought that, well, Prabhupada will like this. The golf course is so manicured. Every blade of grass is trimmed. It's just gorgeous. Prabhupada will think this is so beautiful. So they're driving along by the golf course, and Prabhupada's looking out the window. And Prabhupada turned his head away, and TKG could see he was crying. Prabhupada began to whimper. His heart was broken. And he said, Prabhu, what's wrong? Did I forget your bags or something? What? You know, and Prabhu said, just see how they're wasting these human forms of life. Just see. And he looked and he says, how can we save them? Somehow we have to save them. There's this one saying where Prabhupada says, to make one person a devotee, to get them to become self-realized, we have to shed 100 tons of blood. Meaning we have to put so much energy into it because the people are so much confused. You see, it's a degraded age. We have indoor plumbing. We have so many niceties, but we have an empty society. It's empty. We can't help anybody. We can feed you. We can do so many things. We can help you get shelter, education. You know, you can go online for dating and hook up with a mate. So you can take care of your sex life. You can have you can get education online. You can get so much. You can become an integral part of this country and start bringing in the cha-ching for money, and someday get a nice house and have 2.3 children, become an average nice American, lots of money, and you have no philosophy whatsoever. You have you're empty, hollow. So we see hollow people. Sometimes we talk to them, we find out what their philosophies are. They have empty, hollow philosophies. You know, things that, there was this one young lady that I had made a comment. It's funny, I keep forgetting how many people are listening in on the internet. You know, like if I send you a message on Facebook, not a message, but you know, if I say something that you posted, I'm so behind the times. I'm thinking I'm just talking to you or just to Bob. You know, it's just, I don't know. There's just like all these thousands or hundreds of thousands or millions of people that are somehow or other they're there. Once in a while, one of them will chime in. So this person chimed in to say something about something. I think I read that to you, didn't I? I said, listen to what this person is saying. I can't remember. But what was that subject matter? What was that?
There was a quote that you had posted about when a man is wrapped up in himself, it makes for a pretty small package.
Yeah. And this person was challenging that, well, we need to look within, and we need to take care of ourselves. Basically, we need to learn to love ourselves, and you know, and starts talking in all of this flowery language that says nothing. I can't remember. Can you remember some of it? It's like, and I remember, well, this is the tactic. The so-called New Agers, I call them that. I don't know if that's the right term, but there's a group of people now that think they know it all. It's funny how the know-it-all group always keeps changing. You know, next week or next year there's going to be another know-it-all. You know, maybe it's the same people, but they'll realize I didn't know it all, but I do now. So there'll be a new thing. But anyway, they talk about this flowery, you know, it's just like they can talk and talk and talk. And this lady was writing paragraphs and comments like that. Empty, saying nothing. So there's a tactic behind that. If I talk, but don't say anything, how can you say that I'm wrong? How can you defeat it? You can't defeat it. There was nothing said. It was just a feeling from within. You know, just the expression from the soul. So anything that comes from me, of course, is right. You see, and it was just, you know, I said something. You know, like, I thought, well, I'm not going to be rude to this person, but I don't feel like I can let this thing float out there without an answer. You know, this is so dumb. It sounded like something that, I don't know, a hippie a hippie in this age would say, I don't know anything about this person. I've never met this person. I don't know where they came from. And somebody that came to a lecture of mine in El Paso, I think, some time back, and somehow or other got on my Facebook. I don't know. And so I said that you're okay. I understand where you're coming from. Some people have very few demands on spiritual knowledge. But others, on the other hand, are making a much bigger demand. And place a great importance on spiritual knowledge and the direction they're going and the destination that they will achieve. You see, and they're not so much impressed by flowery words and word jumpery by. Read that. What is it? Pseudo spiritualists and like that. And basically have a nice day, Hare Krishna. And I didn't hear anything back. And it's like, it was a nice way to, let them out with grace, gracefully. So I thought, but this is just, it's in keeping with what we're talking about, There's so little real knowledge. I can teach you so many things. I can teach you how to be a carpenter. I can teach you to be a fisherman so you can catch fish. I can teach you how to be an accountant or a computer programmer. We can do all that. But as far as your soul, we don't have a thing to offer. And sometimes people say that, well, you're just a fanatic. You're an ISKCON fanatic. And when people call me an ISKCON fanatic or a Prabhupada fanatic, I take it as a compliment. Inside, I say thank you. I don't say it. Sometimes I do to them, but sometimes they'll get mad if I say, well, thank you. I appreciate that. That's very kind of you. And I think, all right, I'm doing okay. Because I don't trust anybody. Outside of those that I know that have the truth, I don't trust anybody. So you get some speaker, even though he may claim to be a Vaishnava. India is full of people who claim to be Vaishnavas, and they'll tell you anything to get some money. They get your attention, they'll end up asking for some money. They want followers. When Srila Prabhupada left, some of his godbrothers in the Gaudiya Mutt, the organization established by his guru, they wanted to take over ISKCON. You see, they didn't like that. Well, Prabhupada passed and left ISKCON to his sons and daughters to take over. They felt like, no, it should be ours now. Although they didn't do anything, and these people weren't really much preachers, they never left India and tried. They never tried to do what Prabhupada did. You see, Prabhupada left India. He was almost 70 years old at a time when most people were playing golf in Florida, shuffleboard. And he didn't have any money. He took his life's work, a case of books, a couple of trunks of books, and sailed for America with $7 in his pocket, and faith in Krishna and Guru, and spread this movement all around the world. Why? Because he's a dynamic speaker? Because he knows how to juggle words? No, because he gives you the real thing, the real absolute truth. He can actually give you love of Godhead. You see? So, the rest of these folks, even though they're from the same sampradaya as we are, they have a different spin, just enough that they can make theirs sound better than ours, and try to convince you that you're not on the level that they are. And they wanted ISKCON, they wanted control of ISKCON, because along with control of ISKCON comes the temples, whatever money is coming in, so.
Is this that group you were talking about last week when I was asking? I don't even know the name of the group. It was something also you posted on your Facebook about a group and a particular. That's the same
That's
one,
the
okay.
same.
Yeah.
Even though they're Vaishnavas, I don't listen to them. I offer respect. You know, I'm so happy that they're dedicating their lives to however they're spreading Krishna consciousness. I don't know, but all I know is Prabhupada gave us everything we need. So I don't go outside. There's everything here that I need. You see, Prabhupada was very careful to give us everything. And he even said, I've left you everything. Everything you need to save the world is within what I've given you. So we can see that the people are misguided in this age. They want fame, profit, adoration, and distinction. Everyone is motivated by something like that. So the devotees of Krishna, we're supposed to have no self-interest. We don't have self-interest. See? We don't go around thinking if I can speak and get some people together, maybe I'll get them to give me some money. You see? We just depend on Krishna. If people will offer a donation, then that's very wonderful. But there's no charge. You know, this doesn't become, when it becomes a business, then it's all tainted. Then it takes on a very sour aroma, you see. When the preacher is just a wandering mendicant, and he takes whatever Krishna sends him, Krishna actually will send more than you could ever squeeze out of people, unless you become a businessman and start selling, you know, the whole thing, you know, marketing books and see, not that marketing books is bad, but like having these things with a CD and the thing on the internet, and sometimes that's okay. Sometimes I've had yoga studios tell me that what you ought to do is charge. You know, we'd love to have you come and speak. Love to have you talk about Krishna, but you need to charge. I'd say, but I can't even fathom that. Well, but this is America. If people don't pay for it, they won't come. If you charge $25 a head, you'll fill the room up. If you say it's free, they're going to think it's probably worth the fee. You know, some of these speakers come through and they charge much more than $25 to speak and say nothing. I've had the people in the yoga places that know me and have heard me speak tell me that. They're not all black belts, but say, you know, you're the only one that's telling the truth. The rest of these guys come through here and say all this flowery kumbaya stuff, you know. Phrases like, you are the one you've been waiting for. Look within you, the truth is there. You know, classes, that's the title of the class. And so people come and they tell you how great you are, that you're basically God. And, you know, you walk away with nothing. You know, maybe high hopes that you're God. You see. I like that one. I heard that one. You are the one you've been waiting for. You don't need guru. You don't need anything. You need to buy my course. You know, you give me X hundreds of dollars, and I'll teach you how to be supreme, how to manage your time, and how to do this. You know? Yeah.
I'm just, okay, so I heard you the other day, and you said there's three things you trust: the scriptures, the guru, and
The Shastra.
the association. And okay, so but isn't Krishna inside of us? I mean,
Yeah.
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 So it's very confusing, isn't it? So like I'm speaking to my nieces or my nephews, and I want them to stop listening to all the crap outside of them.
Yeah.
I want them to understand. They already know that. But I want to encourage that. I want to help them know that more. And really, really emphasize, stop listening to all of it outside.
Yeah.
And, but I don't want to sound like those flowery people that have robbed that.
Yeah.
You know, and it's very hard for me to,
You don't want to be mistaken to be one of those.
well, I'm not.
Yeah, but I mean, but you certainly don't want them to make that
Yeah, I don't want them to make any,
assumption. Oh, you're influenced by the New Age or yada yada.
yeah, and I don't want them to make any mistakes. By hearing what I say and then hearing some loopy person who might have read like a couple of things, like summaries of the Vedic text or something, and you know, I don't want them to misunderstand that.
Yeah.
And then, of course, everybody's going to say, well, it's just Krishna's job anyway, so we
Well, but you're his instrument. You know, Krishna could snap his finger. He wouldn't even have to do that. Just think about it, and we could all be purified. But we all have our own journey and our own relationship with Krishna. You see, what he wants is the world to be saved. He wants everyone to come back home, back to God. You see, it's just like this. I'll give you, for instance, of how I thought about this the other day. I had this realization, and I'm glad I remembered it because I have these realizations and they just go right out. So interesting. But this is a nice gathering tonight, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
It's wonderful having these people here. But you know, when I first come in the room, or whenever I go to a class and I'm speaking, I immediately identify with who's here. Oh, Bob, good to see you. Hey, Sean, how are you? There's so many people you can count on. You know they're going to be there. And it's always wonderful to see the people. But then a split second later, you start to think of who's not there. I wonder who so-and-so is. And I start to long for them, you see. So, Krishna's like that. In the spiritual world, he has unlimited living entities that are there with him. And when he looks out upon them, he immediately says, oh, where's Jivananda? Where's Jarrell? You know, where's Bob? See, his heart starts to long for those who aren't there. I know who's here. And now what about those who are here? And he wants us to return because we have an individual special relationship with him. You see. So what we have to do is to try to realize that we are his eternal servant and start to behave in such a manner. You see. If you behave in a way that you're having that realization, I'm just a servant of Krishna. That makes me the servant of everyone else. Everyone else is servant. You're going to sound different than the New Agers. They may misunderstand, but the words that come out of your mouth are going to be entirely different. It's not going to be stuff that's said that doesn't mean anything. You see, it's going to cause them to think and scratch their head and say, "Whoa, man, that's a lot to think about what you just said." So we save the world. We make people devotees by being as good a devotee as we possibly can. You see, when we become ourself, our true self, we're different. You see, many people come into this world, and that's their purpose from day one. I've talked to people, over the last 40 years of practicing Krishna consciousness. I've talked to so many people. I've seen so many people, so many thousands, tens of thousands come to this movement. And I find out many of them have something in them that they share. They don't really fit in anywhere else. They don't fit into the outside world. They're a square peg in a round hole, you see. And then all of a sudden they come into this consciousness and they think, oh, now I know what I've been looking for. Now I've figured it out, you see. And so the idea is for us to fit into, let's be the round peg that fits the round hole. Okay, so we're rightly situated. And then do that as good as we can, and then to speak to people, you see, and try to influence them. But you've got to be real. You've got to be yourself. It's got to be genuine, which makes you different from those who are just real colorful and they can talk. And, hang on just a second. Don't let me forget it. Does that make any sense? So the devotee, so many people come to Krishna consciousness and they say, "At last I found something, a place where I feel that I fit." I could pull the wool over my eyes and go ahead and function well in the world. But I'll tell you what it's very much like. It's like that. I use this a lot. It's a good analogy. It's like this movie. They show it around Thanksgiving. The Wizard of Oz. Everybody's seen that, right? All right. You know the part where Dorothy makes it back to the Emerald City. She's done all the things that she was supposed to do. Now she's back there, and the wizard is going to send her home. Well, the wizard never thought that she was going to actually do all that. She had killed the witch, hadn't she? Yeah, and she's brought the slippers back or whatever. So anyway, she's talking to this great big, all-powerful wizard, and this little dog, Toto, goes over and pulls this curtain, and Dorothy notices there's a man over there. That famous line I'll never forget: "Pay no attention to the man behind the curtain."
Oh my gosh.
In other words, pay no attention to your intelligence. Cover it over. Close the curtain around your vision. Pretend that you're a part of this material world. Continue to try to satisfy your senses. Find somebody else that wants to satisfy their senses in a way that matches up with the way you want to satisfy your senses. And now you've got someone you can go through life with, you see. But once you've seen the man behind the curtain, how do you dumb yourself down? You see. Where are the stupid pills that you take to forget what you learned? You see, when you learn the truth. When you get the truth, you can't defeat the truth. So what do? Now you're a slave of the truth. When you have that real knowledge, now you're a slave of that. You see. And there's once you realize that there's no turning back or doing anything else, like I say, what do? Beat yourself with a club until you beat half your brains out or something? Or maybe there's a drug that they'll develop that, where you could become ignorant again. So, if you want to help people, you got to start by helping yourself. It's like when you're flying on an airplane, they always say, in the event of loss of cabin pressure, the oxygen mask will drop. If you're going to assist someone, put the mask on yourself first. So, fix yourself, and then fix others.
One of the things that I've seen in my first year becoming Krishna conscious is that just myself and others are in the same position. Is that they're going and this is amazing. They start getting a taste, they're chanting, and then they start getting a little association from their old friends, their old family, and you're doing something that you're finding some joy within, and you're finding something that's real. But then you have these outside people. What are you doing? You're crazy. This is a cult. What are you thinking? It's because it's completely opposite of anything that they would ever agree to. So how do you get through that period where it's very fragile, that faith, that seed of faith that's within your heart? It's very fragile. It has to be cultivated. How do you get to that point where you're so strong within yourself, where these things don't affect you anymore?
Yeah, that's kind of like the danger zone. People come and they start to get very excited. There's actually a point of no return. There's a point to where you get enough knowledge. You like we said, you can't dumb yourself down. But up until that point, and I'm not sure for different people, some people it happens day one. They read a little bit of Bhagavad Gita and they realize, wow, this is it. This is the truth. But these are spiritual seekers that maybe made it close last lifetime. Some people are starting a little further back and they're learning the knowledge. But if you don't have proper association And if you don't have real sincerity, if you can't develop a real attraction to Krishna, a personal loving attraction to Krishna and Krishna's devotees, then you'll start to see this as a material process. Why should I do this material process? Why should I associate with these people? I can associate with my friends. Why? They know all the neatest places to go drinking, and they've got the best drugs and all the sports and things that they go to. They're having such a great time. Why am I doing this? You see? This is just one process. Theirs is another process. Well, heck, they don't get up at 4 o'clock in the morning. I mean, heck, I'm getting up, I'm doing this, then they want me to do service, and there's the chanting, and then I gotta walk around feeling bliss all the time, eating all the great food, which keeps me from eating all that trash that they serve in the restaurants. I miss some of that trash. Some of that garbage that they sling around that's, from those big Cisco trucks, which is all repackaged and it's full of chemicals and stuff. But I like that. You see? It's kind of like there's people I've heard when I was a child that horses, when a barn catches on fire, the owner of the horse will chase the horses out because the barn's on fire. So the horses will run out of the barn. But then they get a few steps away and they think, but I was born in that barn. My mother nursed me as a baby in that barn. I eat in that barn. I sleep in that barn. That barn is my home. And they turn around and they go back into the burning barn. Have you heard that? Yeah. The horse, they say like a horse returning to a burning barn. It's so much that, back when people had horses and things like that, it was very common for a horse to run back into the burning barn. So we're like that until we get to a certain point. We still have our attachments, and we have mixed faith. We have faith in Krishna. We also have faith in the material energy. And that's a dangerous area that we can be dragged back into it, you see. Because we still have some faith in the material energy. It never did anything for me. But, the old neighborhood where I grew up, ex-girlfriends or boyfriends. Maybe now I know how I could patch things up and make it work differently. The devotee's senses become purified, you see, because you're not doing any intoxicants and you're eating well, and things are actually the devotee's senses become awakened. You actually experience more on the sensory platform, smelling. You see more beautiful things, you smell more beautiful things, you taste more beautiful things. You see. Even in embracing one another is more than just embracing somebody. When you embrace a devotee, it's very, very, so much more pleasure than, the material associations people have. So now I have these purified senses. I want to go try these purified senses on the old ways of trying to enjoy. You see? And some people do that, they get beat up and they come right back. And some people get snared. They get there, they have what happens most of the time is they get back and they have a realization that I really did a dumb thing. And I just realized how stupid it was. But man, if I go back, Sean's going to say, "You idiot, what'd you do?" He and Bob are going to say, "Look at him, what's the turn?" So they're embarrassed. They're embarrassed. They think, God, it's a stupid thing. If I go back, people are going to be, "Oh, I can't do it." So what happens is they come back later, many years later.
Krishna has everything he wants, as you want. So many things you've said, and when I first met you in 2010, beg your pardon, you said so many things that changed my life, going to Utah and all these things. And you mentioned that Melissa's house, that, Krishna has everything. It's inconceivable that Krishna has everything, but there's one thing he doesn't have in this material illusion. It's just some of us have forgotten him, and he wants that conjugal relationship back. So in the spiritual world, as you were nicely pointing out, if he's missing Rachel, and he's wondering, well, where's Rachel? Does he then go to his Paramatma feature and observe what Rachel's doing in this form? Or is it both? He's missing her and with her at the same time.
No, simultaneously, he's with Rachel. Krishna's with you as Paramatma, you see. So he knows. But he's there as an observer. And I think I explained the other night that he comes as the observer because he can't bear to be away from you. He's God, and he doesn't have to. I don't have to take that, So I can let you go and do your own thing and have your own free will, but I can go along too, and you don't know that I'm with you see. Because it's not like he's keeping a list of, whoa, I'm going to punish her for that. Okay, she gets kudos for that. Double punishment for that. He's not doing it. He's observing because he's incredibly interested in you. He's interested in all of us. Every one of us is his most favorite. He's most interested in you, his beloved. Because he's God, he doesn't have to pick a favorite. You're his favorite. And so are you. You're his favorite. He's attached to the relationship. He doesn't let you go. You think you would, but he's with you. See? And he doesn't have that function that you perform, that personality. You're unique, like there are innumerable